So today we're talking about teams, and we're just going to come at it from a different direction. And each of our teams are structured very differently. And so the traditional model might be, when you get to a point where you need some help, you add an administrative person to help you so that you can spend more time with clients. And that model then expands to adding another salesperson to your team, et cetera. But we have some differences in how our teams operate. And so I think from our perspective, it'd be interesting to hear for those of you who have thought about starting a team, for those of you who have thought of joining a team, and everything in between. So I thought I'd start with Heather. Can you tell us a little bit about the structure of your team and how that sort of came about, or how it began?
Sure. So 7 years ago, Tyler and I, and for those that don't know, Tyler is my son over there. We went to school, did the course together, studied together, started the business together. We were and will continue to be 50% partners. And we started to get busier, which is awesome. And then we had an old-time friend who I've known since I was 15 years old say, I'm looking at some point to retire, and I don't need the kudos of all the awards, so I'd like to would you consider letting me be part of your team? We were covering for him anyway when he went on holidays, etc. So that's how Doug Howden got added to our team. Tyler and I still are, I'm the team lead, but really and truly it is total 50% decisions. And we don't have an admin, and some days I feel like we should have an admin or even a part-time, but he takes care of the money ends of things and said, we don't need it. Just keep working hard, Mom. So that's kind of how it's going. At some point, we may do a part-time admin person, but right now it's working out okay. Once we get back into our new office, it'll even be better. Right, Alex?
It'll be newer.
It'll be better. It'll be better because I won't be working from my kitchen table. And then we added, not too long ago, we added 2 more humans to our team because, again, Ingrid was looking at doing a lot of traveling, and Carol Budworth had retired, but she was still, kind of chatting it up with Ingrid. So once Ingrid decided to join our team, we added Carol as a consultant. And there's nothing better than someone who's had 45 years of amazing experience to be part of our team as a consultant. I can call her 7 days a week, any time of the day, and she's there. She'll pick up the phone and she'll answer questions, and it's invaluable. We right now, and this is new to almost anybody, but we're looking at possibly adding 1 more person to our team, fresh out of school. He came to us not too long ago and said, love the way you guys do business. He's part of Old Milton too, and he's grown up in town. He sees what we do as a family. And so we may take that on as well. And then when we're staging, maybe I won't have to lug so many of the heavy things. Because quite honestly, at 61 years old, some of those staircases, I'm like, really? I can't do it, But anyway, so I'm joking. We wouldn't be adding that person for that, but he certainly, I would plead with him to help out on staging days. The way we kind of structure things, it's very fluid. And it's not super specific contract-wise with our other team members, and they are colleagues. I do not call them, one of them said, hey boss, no, please don't ever call me that. That's not how we operate. We're very, very fluid. We discuss every opportunity that might be coming our way. We discuss things like commissions and those splits and those kinds of things. And pretty much all the time, it varies. It's different for every deal, depending on how much involvement Tyler and I do with the job. So it's all good.
Thank you. Lee, we can go in order.
The way I got into the business, so Chris Goncher and I are co-parents. We were married at the time. We owned 6 different investment properties, and every time we went to buy an investment property, there was something that the realtor did that turned us off. Things like saying like, hey, that was a great deal for us. If you see another one like that, come along, let us know. And he's like, are you kidding? If I see another one like that, I'm going to take it for myself. You made off like a bandit. Okay, we're never using you again. So Chris was in the stock market business, and it was getting deregistered, and it was changing, and there was discount brokerages popping up. So he decided he needed a change. His job was ending. He was getting a buyout. So we were like, let's get our real estate license, and let's buy our own properties and manage our own properties, and let's give clients the service that we were always looking for and we could never find. So we did that, and our focus was always family first. Like, we're forever family. Everything we do is about having time for our family, raising our kids, someone being able to do the school pickup, someone being able to get the skates sharpened. And when Chris worked in the city, he didn't know the coach's name. He didn't know the teacher's name. And I'm like, you're missing out. So our oldest was going into grade 9. So that all evolved. Our business ran great. Obviously, we were married. Everything was 50-50. Then things started not being okay, and we were navigating what does empty nest look like. So Brock was in university, Willow was almost going to university, and Spencer was in his career. And we were like, we're business partners, but we're not a couple. Like, what does this look like for us moving forward? And then Brock was deciding that university was not for him. He doesn't fit inside those boxes. And he grew up in a household that was all about real estate all the time. So it was a natural inclination for him. I remember him calling me from school saying, like, I'm 2 days late on an assignment, but I've been driving around looking at buildings, figuring out cap rates. And I was like, you just need to like leave. You just need to come home. It's not your thing. You have a passion. So the timing of it was Johnson's was folding or getting bought out by you guys. We were facing a separation, and Brock joining our business made it so easy for us to be like, okay, we have to figure this out. We have to get on the same page because this is a legacy, and now one of our children is joining the business. Right. So Brock became our team lead, which kept the ego out between Chris and I because obviously we built our business together. He kind of got put in the middle of it. There were times that were really hard. But through the evolution, I mean, I think in the beginning we all shared everything equally, right? 3 ways?
Yeah, in the beginning.
In the beginning. But then Chris and I shared everything 50-50 as per our agreement. But then, and this has happened many times in our business where we've had to pivot, we are now at a place where we don't share any money. Everybody is their own entity, everybody is their own business, everyone has their own database, but we back each other up on everything you do. Do you need an open house? In July I had 7 closings, I was swamped. Willow was doing things for me, Brock was driving to Toronto to show condos. Last weekend I drove to Toronto to show one for him, but we don't exchange money for that. Because of the evolution of, I can remember, so Chris was living his life his way, and I was living my life my way, but I was becoming more ingrained in the career aspect of real estate post-separation, but he was more on the, I want to travel, I want to have time off, but we were splitting things 50-50. And one day at the Georgetown Royal LePage office, anyone that was there would have heard it, Brock pulled us into our office and said, that's it, you're done, divide your book, here's each of your, like, here's your book, who's mom, who's dad, enough. Like, we're not doing this anymore because it was constant conflict. So we pivoted. Then with Brock, when we started doing things just 3 ways, he was putting so much more into the business than we were, and there was not an equation in the world that we could make it fair. And at the end of the day, we're family. That's our why. Our why is a family business, a legacy for our kids. And it was just, you want to be able to get together on Sunday night and not have money over your head. So we abandoned all of that. And then the next phone call was Willow saying, she was working at the Marilyn Dennis show, post-university, saying, I don't want to work in Toronto and come home on a train every day. I think I want to join the real estate business. And I was telling Brock on the drive here today that it took me a solid day to process that. And I was like, oh no, growing pains. What does this look like? How do we support Willow and give her a start without asking for it to come from Brock? So in the beginning, Chris and I each gave her 10% of whatever we sold to get her established. And now she's got a stuffed pipeline. She's married. And we all do our own thing to back each other up. If I get a lead on a listing and I don't have time to give it the attention that it wants, then I would say to her, do you want this lead? If you do something, we'll split it 50-50, or we would figure it out, or pay me a referral. We just kind of do that on everything. Brock was away for an extended trip in Europe where he got engaged. We were happy to cover his business, but there was something that Willow did that was like beyond what, she negotiated a deal for you or something.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just showing a house or Nick standing at an inspection. She had to do the whole thing start to finish. Same for her dad when he traveled. And so they made their own arrangements on that. And the only other exception to that, we do split money because obviously we've lived in the same town for 35 years. Sometimes people feel we're interchangeable. They don't know we're our own profit centers. So they'll call one of us and then they'll be like, we've known them for 35 years and I babysat their kids and I did this. So then we make exceptions and we go, okay, that's a family split. And we do divide those 4 ways. But it's just a conversation, and at the end of the day, I always say, you have to remember your why. Our why is we're family forever and we want to break bread on a Sunday night. So there's nothing that's more important than that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's our story.
Thank you. Emerson.
Teams. That's probably the only thing that I know. I was 29 years old and I said, real estate, alone, by teams. So the only team that I know is Royal LePage Middletown Realty. I don't know any other team. For so many years, after 22, 23 years in this house, it's the only thing that I know. And it's actually kind of funny. Sometimes say, but you always receive those letters from RE/MAX, Century 21, and other Royal LePages. It's that what is exactly your feelings? How do you feel comfortable? What do you feel about homes? What do you feel about? I do respect, we have here in the audience so many people who work by yourself, but it's great. Some people feel comfortable working by alone. I don't. That's the only thing that I learned here that being in a business like real estate today, it's a totally completely different story when I started 23 years ago. We need teams. It's actually nice when these colleagues share the experience about who travels, who is not in the country for any reasons, or who is in the car this weekend doesn't want to do any open house, or what about. We always hear about those things like why you have 2 brokers when you can have 1. And always people in teams say, but you know what, I'm splitting my 20% or 30% or 40%, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, it's just a number that is going to be accordingly what the expectation on everything and the efforts of every single person is doing by the team. I always encourage people that, do it as a team. That's, for me, the proven results are in my head. I know that this works in a team. Some people say, but I love to travel. Every time I get escaped from this is, this weather, unfortunately, it's a little bit too cold for a South American boy like me. But and so every time, and obviously, I lean all the responsibilities to the team. And this is something that, when we talk about splits, when we're talking about money, at the end of the day, it's the agreement that we can have. And at the end, it comes in a family, because I wouldn't pretend to, to talk to one of my colleagues or one of the members of my team saying, you know what, you got the $2 million property? Yeah, but I got to take a trip to Italy. So what about if you receive an offer while you're in Italy? Obviously, we have 7 members or 8 members of the team that actually is going to be probably in, I don't know, in hierarchy, or how, what's the person who's going to be able to deal this type of property. Because if we have a guy that just joined it's been in the business for 2 years, he might not be able to have the experience or the expertise to confront an agent. And I remember those days. One day I was sitting in one of the real estate conference, and Dan Cooper was beside me. It was probably, I don't know, 20 years ago. And Dan Cooper, that is the biggest, that guy, the name. And I was like, and I wouldn't say, unfortunately, actually, it was a course that it was a mandatory credit or something, and he was just beside me. And I said, oh my God, I need to invite this guy to lunch or something. But he's going to be, taking his time to even talk to me. And at that time, I felt so awkward that I said, no, the guy is not even looking at me. And I was trying to say something, and the guy, he didn't care. He didn't care. But the business is changing. The business is changing, and the teams, it's something that, as I say, I don't know any other thing other than Royal LePage. And it's not my Vivas Group team. We've been having people, some people feel comfortable going by their own way. That's fine. That's fine. At the end of the day, they know how we work. I love to see someone who's excellent doing marketing. Oh, okay, these guys, especially on the market, talk to this guy. Oh, this guy is excellent doing staging. Talk to him because this is the one who's in charge of the staging. Administrative. Oh, I talk to this guy because this is the expert with the. If you ask me, I swear to God, and I feel embarrassed when I said I don't even do offers in my computer. I'm not able to do it. I just trying to be the brain. I just trying to be the book of history of things that happened to me. But and this is something I remember when I started one night. Was James Hodgins at that time. That's right. And James Hodgins came to me and said, Emerson, buddy, you know how to calculate the land transfer tax? I said, of course I know. Can you do it? Just calculate this for me and pass it over. And I said, James Hodgins, he doesn't even know how to calculate land transfer tax. And he's one of the biggest in the business, number one in our office at the time. But you know what? Teams, as a part of the team, everyone takes control of one part. And that's the thing. So if I have to do the business by myself, then, I cannot, sometimes the open house, I cannot do it because I don't have time. If I take another client, the minute that you have 2 listings, when she's saying she has 7 closing in summer, come on, 7, forget it. She doesn't have time for anything. She's gonna be killing by herself. So the only time that we're able to do something is having a team. If you're working by yourself in a team, your team is this one, Royal LePage Middletown. That's the main team that you have. That you can have some other team that it will go directly with your business. That's another part. But in our experience for these years, it's a family. This is a family. It's a business that we can. I always feel like if we are together, we are stronger. We are stronger. And nowadays people see, who do you work with? Oh, I got a team of because sometimes you're alone. Yeah, alone. And it will happen if you're in your cottage because it's your son's birthday, whatever the case may be. It's something that people want to rely on you when you are stronger, when you have more tools to work. And at the end of the day, personally, Teams is working for me, and it will. And it will. I got my son that, trying to, you finish your courses. Phase 2, come on, move it. Because at the end of the day, when we kind of are retired, we have a portfolio, we have a clientele, we have people that foresaw all these years that it's going to be a business. Sometimes, my son graduated as a doctor, or he's graduated as a lawyer. You know what? This business started to create an atmosphere that is better than lawyer, than doctors, because the sky is the limit. Sometimes we feel like, yes, good. Some people say, but you guys do a course of 18 months and now you're making 150, you're making 200, you're making 300. What can we do? I can do, why I have to hire you or your team? Because we do real estate. That's what we, every day at night, instead of counting sheep, we count houses. It's the reality. At the end of the day, it is. Always when we are together, that you go into a barbecue, what's the first thing that we talk about? Real estate. Real estate. So that's the life, that's the idiosyncrasy, and we're in the business. And we are here to make good life and make good money and be good. And there is not, sometimes I say, Emerson, you know, I hear that some people are leaving the business. Oh, some people are doing Uber. You know, at the end of the day, what can you do? If you know this business, do it. Don't try to. Bad things happen. Times are, you know, obviously we are sometimes struggling to say, what are we going to happen? What's going to happen with interest rate? Are we going to be able to sell? Yes. Because every day there is someone there who wants to sell. Everyone wants to purchase, and everyone wants to invest. Obviously, sometimes we are not the one who has the money, but we are the one who move those money outside. And that's something that I personally, for teams, this is a very well structured. I believe personally that the business is going that way with teams. And but having focused on that, the first team that we know is your brokerage, which is a team, because my teams are, you know, Colleen and all people in Milton, like in Georgetown. I love that because I don't feel that I'm alone in the business. And right beside me, we are 7 or 8 people, always trying to make, you know, business, but we have the good backup. And that's basically my story about teams. But now I'm gonna pass it over to
Thanks, Sam.
Pinder that I love.
Thank you. And it's mutual. So in my situation, went back into sales after management, wasn't really thinking team, was just, hoping I could make ends meet. And, those who kind of were, close to me at the time of that transition, I had a big fear. It's like I used to stand up here and preach to you guys, and if I don't do a certain number of deals or success, I'm going to be that guy who couldn't, you teach when you can't do it type of thing. And so I got so just kind of wrapped up and started going. And with God's good grace, was very successful very quickly. And Natisha and I had met even before she started working here. She was thinking about real estate. And she ended up joining the office and was kind of figuring her thing out and seeing if she liked real estate. And I got to the point that I was super busy and I was falling behind, having a hard time servicing clients. And Natisha was the first step for me. So an administrator to me is the first step. There's successful teams that don't have one. Heather made a good point. They work just fine without one. For me, that wasn't my strength. Not that it wasn't my strength. I don't think I could do both at the same time. I think I could be a good administrator. I would hope so. I was one. And I think I'm a pretty good realtor. But trying to do both was very hard. So to me, that was the first step, and it changed everything. The one thing I'd say to you guys, if you're thinking about it, if I can go backwards, one thing I'd do differently, I think I was being a little bit too modest. I didn't think we were going to blow up the way we did. If I could go back, I would have put more systems into place. I don't think that I had the time or the time management or foresight to put all that into place, give her the foundation she needed and kind of all the systems. So now all of a sudden I'm absolutely busy as heck and I want to go backwards and trying to set all this up. It's a nightmare. So anybody who's thinking about it, I think you should do it even if you're on your own. You should have systems. If you're thinking of a team, have that in place. So if you're thinking administrator, we've seen it a lot. Agents start to hit a certain number. I think it's different for everybody, but from history as management, we'd start to see 250,000, 300,000. Seems to be about the point where it's kind of hard to do it on your own and you need that help. And what we found, as most others have, is it changed my ability to maybe grow and kind of expand my business. So now I had time to work on the business instead of running around worrying about paperwork and little things. So now I get to be around more, talk to people, find a way to grow. So that was kind of the beginning, and Natisha continues to be, the cornerstone of our business. And then where we started to go from there, and I realized this while you guys were talking, I thought about it, I'm like, the first 2 agents on our team actually came to me. I wasn't looking to add another agent. The first one was from a brokerage that's known to recruit, and I'd known her from her previous life, and I'm like, oh, okay, she wants to go for coffee, she's gonna try to recruit me. And I had no idea. And she's like, yeah, so I see you're doing great, I'd like to join your team. I'm like, what team, what? Oh, you want me to recruit you? Okay. Now, great relationship, that's fine. The second example, same thing. Those 2 didn't end up working out. We're all still friends, it's great. That was kind of a learning curve for me. And, different reasons. They were great while they were there. I think the one wasn't willing to really take on, I guess, the way that I do things. right? And kind of wanted to be a lone soldier, do what she wanted, but benefit from what I bring to the table. I have no hard feelings, but when I look back and I analyze it, I'm like, well, that's what didn't work, right? So why are you here? Let me show you what I do, and we should kind of do it the same. It's a brand. The next example was fully, invested. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it. And I'm very proud. I don't think it's necessarily because of me, but that person went like 5x their income. And that felt really good, by the way. Lee, you mentioned why, and I've got 2 whys. And one of them comes up in that story is I want to help people, right? So for my management days, I like that. It fulfills me as a person. So now I get to grow my business and I'm still helping people, right? So it's like I get to help my team, help them grow and do better. So that was a good example. That person grew so big that they wanted to go on their own. We still talk, blessings are there, that's great. Brings me to Jacob. Jacob was the only one actually that I wanted. And again, I only realized this in the last 15 minutes sitting here. I'm like, wait a minute. And, and he's been the best agent for me. That's been a good fit for me as a person, as a business. And this has been an absolute great, pairing. So, and I think about every other person I've had on the team, whether it's currently or previous, they've come to me. And so as I'm sitting here, I'm at the realization, I'm like, maybe I need to be more picky and analyze what do I need? What situations would be best for me and for the team member? Maybe if I am more selective, I can be better as a leader. They can be better as a support to me. So again, that's a realization in the last 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, we should really sit down and think about it, is who is the right person for my team? Who's the right person for me, right? I can still help others as we have that environment in the office. Come down the hall, come ask me. It's as if we're on the same team. As Emerson said, we're Meadowtown. But maybe they don't need to be actually on my brand, right? So interesting thing there. Now, the other why is going to be for me is family, like most of us. Just too busy, started working 12, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. As most of you know, got a young son. And at one point realized, I'm not seeing him. It's been 3 days. I left, he was sleeping. I came home, he was sleeping. So blessed enough to be finally in a position in life where it's now I have the money, but I want to trade the money for time. Now, how do we do that while still servicing our clients? And, again, anybody who knows me, I didn't travel for about a decade. And in the last 12 months, I've been gone, I think, 6 times. And we just booked a flight yesterday to go to the conference in Calgary. So enjoying my life differently, and that's what the team has given me. So I have more time for my son, more time for my wife, eventually more time for me, get back into ball hockey and start having a personal life. So for me, that's a big part of the team. It was fulfilling my need to want to help people, and then growing to the point that I can back off a bit and have a bit more of a life, and still service clients and do a great job in our business. So that's kind of what brought me to where we are today in creating a team.
That's great, thank you. So this business is a strange business. When we talk to new people coming in, many of them want to come into the business because they don't want to work with other people. And they think that they can do everything themselves. And then when they start realizing the services that they get from a brokerage are a lot, they're not necessarily having to do that. Many people, though, want to control every part of it. And so, and to your credit and your detriment for a while was that you'll work yourself into a lather until you're in the office at 11 o'clock at night, as an example. And then so Natisha changed everything for you. And that was sort of the springboard, I think, for many of you, is having someone else who could share some of the sweat. But it's still, our industry attracts people who want to be each of you, who want to be the lead, who want to run your own business. And I see the buddy system working really well too. We've been talking about the buddy system a lot lately with Tressa, so that you have someone else who can help you. Emerson, what would you say the biggest challenge is with working in a group of people who have different goals, different interests, and what was your biggest challenge, would you say?
I believe, as you say, people come to the industry because they want to be the leader. They want to be the one who runs the actual business itself. But I think that counting with the right individuals will give you the strength to move forward. This is not an easy business. It's not. It's not. Unfortunately, some people have the idea, I lost my job. I was working Royal Bank. I lost my job, and now I'm going to take a course real estate. I'm going to do something. Oh, forget it. Because I can tell you that, sometimes people say, I was making, I'll just go a little more deep on numbers. I was making $80,000 at Royal Bank. And, believe it or not, my first year in real estate, I made double of what I was working Royal Bank. I was working, like a machine, Monday to Friday. You know what? I can see that this is a nice business. Obviously, this is not a business that you gotta put a lot of effort into it. And I believe one of the challenges is that obviously people wants to have the best option in the business. Like it's hard when people say, okay, I'm going to be in a team that I have to share probably some type of my commission, but hey, hold on, I got this and I got that. So at the end of the day, it's something that has to be planned. And if we overcome those challenges and be clear on that, when we started my team, it's a Vivas Group. What's Vivas Group? Viva Las Vegas, people say that. But that's because, at that time I was probably the oldest in the team, probably the one who has a little bit more experience than the newer. And okay, we go like that because sometimes I feel that I had some people say, I work at Royal LePage Middletown, members of my team. I said, good, I don't care. Like you say, Vivas Group or Royal LePage Middletown, that's the same thing. That's the same thing because I was born and raised here. I don't know anything else about this. This is my team. So be proud of have the Royal LePage sign. Be proud when we're in the van, like people in photo one goes like this. Oh my God. So I like that. I like, the other day I was in, I think that someone caught me in Hamilton. It was you. And you remember? So, because I love it. Because he saw that he van, Royal LePage Middletown, and people go, yeah, we're there in the park. I was in my van because I had to, put the canoes and things on the toys for the kids and all those things. But this is something that definitely, the challenge are always there. We need to be clear. As they say, it's a family thing. It's a family thing. If you're coping with that, if you're clear of the way that those challenges are going to come, it's a challenge, not you, not Royal LePage Middletown. It's the whole team that you're representing. It's something that we always strive. We gotta be better by ourselves because at the end of the day, we are 8 individuals. Eight individuals have their own 8 business. It's like a branch. I was trying to say, okay, we are 8. Like this. Sorry, my finger now. I'm married again. Okay, so we are 8. Out of the 8, take a picture so I can send to my wife. We are 8 people, and out of the 8, okay, so this is a branch. So this guy has this branch. So this one has another branch. So at the end of the day, we're trying to accommodate the whole people because at the end, we're abarking. We're making exposure of 8 members of the team, right, with the different branches, all of us. And that's what we need to have. That's what we want to aim. This is the piece of cake in the whole real estate market. I was sick and I prayed, my God, okay, if we sold 3,000 this month, okay, you gotta give me at least 1 or 2 because obviously because I want to be in that cake. I want to have a part of that cake because that's what we're here for. We're doing to make money. We're doing to make a business. We mean to be professionals in what we do. And this is something that definitely those challenges has to be put on the table. This is the way that we're going to be working. As Pinder said, these are the methods, these are the rules and regulations that we're going to have, and they move forward.
I love how all of you have different sort of models of how you operate. And so there's not that perfect formula. It can be a cooperative in some cases. And the 3 of you run like a cooperative. You would run mostly the most traditional structure of a team. What do you think, what's your biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge, wow. That's a really good question. So I'd say maybe what I've found has been a struggle is I didn't have it clear as to what my expectations were. And I think as I mentioned before, a lot of this came at me and it wasn't me looking for it, so it wasn't like according to my plan. And I tried to go with it, and it's great, and I've had lovely people and still have lovely people, but that was probably the biggest challenge was I always want to help too much, and I have a hard time saying no, and maybe it's better for the other person for them to hear no, right? So I think that was probably the biggest challenge, is making sure it's the right people. Because, like, jumping ahead, probably another question will come up later is, I had a really nice book that was given to me to read about teams. A really, really good book. Maybe we can drop a link for it afterwards. And what it was talking about was, what do you need from them? What's the culture, right? And that was really important. What I started to realize is I'm resenting people for not being here. You're not here at the Monday morning meeting. You're not here weekly meeting with the team. Jacob did a presentation at another brokerage the other day, and somebody in the team was like, "Oh, was that today?" And I'm like, "Why don't you know that? Why weren't you there?" Right? So because I didn't plan it, I do feel that I have that resentment. And this book brought it to light, and it made me sit there and think, what do I want from my team members? I want you present. I want you to be a family. We talked about this when we started, was I want to be able to have a barbecue in the summer and our kids to play together, right? If I don't know you like that, are we really a team? Although here we may have, teams that have some family together, we may not be related, but I want us to be family, right? You're going to show up, you're going to support, you're going to be part of the brand, you're going to do things the way that we want. So I'd say that's probably my biggest challenge. Is I do feel a bit of resentment there, which has made me write down a list. Moving forward, if I was to hire somebody, what do I want? What are my expectations? Are there certain days you have to be here? There'll be one strike and there is no second strike. That's it. You got to show up to these things, because otherwise I'm harboring these negative feelings that I'm carrying around. Why aren't you doing what maybe other members of the team are and these people aren't? And then I realized it's my fault. I didn't put that into play. I don't have that in my, hiring, and it's like, did I have a hiring package? Did I have a checklist? Did I have these things have to exist before I make this decision? So I'd say that's probably my biggest challenge.
Great, thank you. Lee, if you were giving someone advice who wanted to start a team, what would you tell them? What would be the biggest lesson you think they should learn in advance?
I think the number one thing is to know your why. And everything that comes about, there's going to be conflicts, there's going to be differences of opinion. But if you you can always find a solution if you go back to what your why is. So if our why is family forever, and there's a difference of opinion on how to manage something, I can always find a solution if I focus on what matters the most. And for me, it's also reminding everyone in our team of that. I'm the matriarch. I'm not the head of the business. We don't have a head. We're a team. But in terms of family, I'm the matriarch, and I instill that in everybody else. But at the end of the day, this is what we have to focus on. Mm-hmm. Now, the kids can do whatever they want. I think accepting that everybody has their own plan. Brock has his work ethic. His father has his work ethic. His sister does, I do. And we have to all accept that that's what he wants, and it doesn't have to be what I want. Mm-hmm. Where it's maybe different for Pinder because he's building a different type of team where he wants everybody on the same page. For us, accepting that everybody can do it their own way and we can find a way to coexist and support each other and be a family and be a business and make a good living, but we can all do it our own way.
Do you think it's harder to run your hybrid team as a family, or would it be harder if you weren't?
For me, I think that would be a different answer for each one of us, yeah. And it would depending on the time of the evolution of where we are now. Now we're in this state where everything's easy, sure. Everything's, we've grown, we've went through the hiccups, we're fine. I think managing other people that weren't my family, I would have a harder time with that.
Yeah, interesting, thank you. Heather, what's your biggest challenge as a team lead? So there's a lot of people in the room who look at the team leaders and think, wow, they've got, they've got this thing that maybe I want to do. And they don't necessarily see all the pain of growing and still having to produce too, by the way. What would be your biggest challenge, and what would you maybe do differently?
I just feel like we're still in infancy in terms of team. Because really, we've always called it Team Garrett's, but it was because of our family. And, the additions that we've had in the last couple of years have changed things. And making sure, for me, making sure that my expectations of others, opposite to you, because I'm very much like you, I think, in a lot of ways, Pinder, that I don't put that on anyone else, that we try to make sure that everybody can operate as their own. Yes, it's a brand. So yes, we don't want our name marred in any way, shape, or form in our community because of who we are before we even became realtors. So we're careful and conscious of that. But I think it's just, making sure that everybody is happy and that they're doing what they want to do. If they want to be away for, 6 or 8 weeks a year, then we'll juggle it. So maybe the challenge sometimes is time, making sure that we all get enough time. My goal is to travel a lot more and dump more work on time. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But it's making sure that we respect everyone's time and making sure that maybe some of the minute things are the paperwork and making sure that everybody's handed in their stuff. Andrea in our office is phenomenal that way, and I'll send her a message. Does our team owe you anything? And I say, but, and it's not so that I can follow it up or do this, but just as a general, making sure that we remain professional and that we don't give our office, who are phenomenal people and support us in so many different ways, we want to make sure that because they are part of our team as well. I really feel, and I hope they always know that, because we try to make sure that they understand and know that how much we care about them. But we don't want them having to chase us, and maybe that's a little bit more of a stumbling block.
Yeah.
And maybe that's putting better processes in place. But you know what? Honestly, some of our teammates are ready to retire pretty soon. I'm not going to be on their butt over. I have to learn way more before I can say anything to them. So I learn from them every day, as I learn from everybody here every day too.
Thank you. The conversation around teams comes up frequently, and I was asked to speak at the Royal LePage Leadership Conference in New Orleans last year. And the reason I was asked is because we are the highest per capita teams in the Royal LePage system. And we've got teams that are one person with a part-time admin, all the way to some of the largest teams in the top 10 in the country. And so one of the challenges I have, is getting someone from being solo and being supported solely by the brokerage, but doing everything themselves, to the point of where you could have a Natisha, because that gives you all sorts of freedom. And so I found a company that we've interviewed a couple times now, and they supply hourly services, and they're all trained. They can broker load, they can do offers, they can do a whole bunch of stuff, and you can get them for a couple of hours a week if you wanted to, or an hour a day or 2 hours a day. And it's $40 an hour, as opposed to having to. The big pushback I always get is, I don't want the responsibility of hiring a full-time employee because I already have a family I'm supporting. I don't need to support someone else. And it's always been a gap. And recently we found a couple of different companies that have those services available, which is really good. And so I don't know if we're going to test them first internally and see how they work. But it also creates some thoughts for me to say, well, you know what? Maybe we need to have somebody that provides those hourly services, as opposed to going outside to find somebody. Maybe we'll just hire one full-time person to do that. And so, because that's always been a gap. So you have someone who works really hard and has a great year and is burnt out. And then they kind of recover, and they kind of go up and down, and their production goes up and down. Their lifestyle goes up and down because they can't do everything. Most great salespeople can't do everything. I met with one yesterday that he can do everything, and he doesn't have any challenges around, or very many challenges around the support, because he's just able to do that. But that gentleman is a unicorn for sure. Most people, Viva Las Vegas. So that's been a challenge that we talked about this for years as to how we can figure it out, and someone else has figured it out, and if they can figure it out, I think we can figure it out. So that can bridge a gap in someone's career so quickly. And then you can springboard from there if you want to, or you can just be a successful realtor and have a life, or that'll be your first step in saying, okay, I have now I have more bandwidth. Now I'm able to take on somebody that maybe I can help and I can mentor.
Right.
You know, my job, my first job is doing that. That's really what I love, and that's why maybe I gravitate towards the team model, and I support it because, let's face it, I run a pretty good team. You guys are fantastic. We have a great company, great culture, great people, and we have all of you guys are business units within our business unit. And so, I wrote out a few things and a couple questions randomly. Hang on one second. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to make a quick comment on that. Alex and Meadowtown are amazing at what he was just describing. And for anybody in the audience or watching this that doesn't have a team or doesn't want to have a team, at this brokerage, you have no excuse. Whether it's a marketing department, whether it's annual events at the farm, you guys are allowed to invite your clients. Now maybe having a virtual assistant or in-house assistant. Alex and Meadowtown are always working on things that can make it so you have a team without necessarily having to take that plunge. And I'm going to rant a little bit, is I get frustrated for my management past when I see so many people not taking advantage of it and not realizing the value that we have here. So I just wanted to give you your kudos. He does amazing work and provides you guys with that support where you can work as a team without having to have that team.
Wow. He's just paying me back for showing that video. You guys are too much. Thank you. Notes that I have here are structure, systems, accountability, lead generation, and social culture. What area is, if you had to think of those five, what area do you speak to most closely? Does it resonate with you? Structure for everybody, systems, accountability, lead gen, or social culture? Culture? Lee?
I think culture, yeah.
Definitely social culture.
Culture. Culture again. Isn't that interesting? So, you know, when people talk about you can't sell culture. You have to be in the culture to do that, and you have to share the culture with people so that they understand what you're doing, and then other people will do the same thing.
Will you lead by example?
Yeah.
When it's culture, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me about accountability to each other, and in your case to the team lead. But tell me about accountability to each other. How does that work in your teams? Emerson?
I love it.
So accountability-wise, one small thing that we do, we've got a WhatsApp group. I'm sure there's much more complicated and amazing technologies that exist, but this is actually a tip from Emerson. You know, it's just having these WhatsApp groups, and we utilize it a lot now. So it keeps us all in touch, what's going on, helping each other. If I'm not able to answer, somebody else from the team answers and helps each other out, so that's good. For the members who are more full-time and really invested in the team, we have a weekly meeting. So Wednesdays from 1 to 3. You know, Jacob was so kind on Wednesday. Pinder, I know you're busy. If you can't have the meeting, that's fine. And I was like, no. If I had a listing appointment or an offer to do, would I have rescheduled? No. So why is it that this appointment is not important enough for me to say, hey, I'm busy, I can't make it today? So, you know, and we've gotten some structure there where we have like 3 kind of main points we have on our whiteboard is let's touch on these 3 points. And then if there's anything else miscellaneous after, we'll touch on those. And then of course there's lots of personal and, you know, and because the social culture is very important, so we have our personal talks too. But that's kind of the accountability. When most of our agents first start, we do use a tool with a weekly checklist, you know, so they're able to check off on Monday, I made this many calls, this many emails. On Wednesday, I did marketing. Thursday, I did a newsletter. It's not so I can rule with an iron fist. It's just my habits for management days. I know that's going to make them better, and then I can give better advice because now we have data. You know, I'm big on data. If I have all your data, I can coach you. If I don't know your data, I don't know how to help you, and you don't know how to help yourself. So we have an accountability checklist at the beginning, which I find most of our team members, when they start to take off, we stop doing that. It's still there for them if they want it, but most of them tend to just get busy and say, I don't need that paper every week. But I think that weekly meeting is super important, and we go over, if you've been in our office, we've got lots of whiteboards. We're very visual, and we're able to kind of write everything down, what's in the pipeline, how can I help you, what are your challenges? So that keeps us all very accountable as team members, and me as a leader, to make sure at least that once a week, I'm filling their cup, spending those 2 hours, giving them some sort of mentorship and advice and help.
Thank you. When I think about accountability, I think of a phrase that I've learned over the years, and it says, do you need more training or do you need more effort? And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people gravitate to the training, and they take course after course after course and want to learn everything, but the amount of effort they put in is minimal. So a great coaching question that was brought to me from someone that I've worked with as a coach, and he said, show me your calendar for the last 90 days, and I'll tell you why you're getting the results you're getting now. He says, talk to your agents that way and ask them. Because when they're not feeling like they've been productive, whatever they didn't do in the last 90 days is the reason why. Right. So that's why I asked that question about accountability. I don't mean that you're holding people accountable, but how do they each hold themselves accountable within the group, and is there a system? Heather?
So we communicate with the team, for me, almost daily, one or two of them anyway. And one of the things I'll say is, thanks, what's in the pipeline, have you, I might say, remember last week we talked about such and such, and we followed up, those kinds of things. But honestly, the people on our team are accountable to themselves, and they want to make sure that their retirement is really great. So they need to keep selling stuff until they can actually call it a day. But, all kidding aside, we talk about things. We don't have weekly meetings, although when we get our office back, some
That's
of those
two,
things.
by the way.
That is two. I know. I'm sorry, Alex, but
I took the risk of inviting you.
Yeah, it is going to make a difference for us because we have plans for 2024 that involve getting together, and our folks are needing to be in together. So, and they're not going to come up to my kitchen table, so it's all good. But that's really, Ty and I talk at least 2 or 3 times a day, even if it's only by text. Some, we may be family, but we don't see each other every day, and that's okay. That way we don't kill each other. No, I'm kidding. There is no, between Ty and I, there's no, I've got this many clients going and you only have one, or vice versa. There is none of that. Our clients know, and we usually always attend listing appointments together. Our clients know when they get one, they get both of us, and in some cases, when it's, let's say, a Doug or Ingrid client, that they also get the rest of the team. So the team works together, and I'm very proud of the way we operate, where everybody is their own human.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Accountability, so we're all self-motivated, self-driven people, and we go the way that works best for us as individuals. But in terms of accountability as a team, when we do take a listing, like I had a new listing come up the other day, everyone from the team came by, met the client, so they know, okay, so we're sort of getting 4 for the price of 1. Even though it's my listing, we all work together. We're all on the same page of wanting to see each other succeed and doing the best by our clients. One thing that we're really firm about is that our branding looks the same. So like my feature sheets would look the same as Brock's. It'll have his name on the bottom, mine will have my name on the bottom, but they always have the team banner on the bottom. So we always want that continuity, and I think that benefits everybody. Mm-hmm. Our signs, we have all of our names on the sign, but we have one sign so that when people drive around, they see it's the Go Goncher team. And for me, as a woman in my 50s, in terms of succession, when I'm ready to hand off, although I can't imagine ever not working, but when I'm ready to take that step or I'm ready to step back, then it's not going to be hard for people in my book to associate with my children being that, and that also provides me with the passive income when I get to that part. So I think branding, accountability, we all have to be the same, and we all have the same high standard that, like, we don't put up a listing if it's not professionally staged, professionally photographed. It's got all of our names on it, and we all need to present those the same way.
Great. Thank you very much. You have the last word.
I'd like to add about accountability. And this is something like you see it by examples. Because talking about the staging, we started our own staging 4 or 5 years ago. And so when there is a stage, okay, group, there is a stage next Tuesday, we're gonna start in the warehouse, blah, 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 blah. Then we know that if we are 7 or 8 in the team, obviously Juliana, it's maternity, but the 5 or 6 that are active, they must be there.
Right.
And actually sometimes they feel like, you know, I got an appointment at doctors, whatever. It has to be something major, not to for yourselves not to attend, because this is, even though it's not your listing, even though it's our listing, because as she's saying, the listing is our group listing. And if I'm not able to, for any reason, to be in that open house, or if I'm not able to, going to take our own client, or for example, the seller says, why you didn't come up? Why? No, because I wanted to show you that you're not hiring Emerson Vivas, you're hiring my whole team. And people feel comfortable. Obviously, the negotiation is going to be me, or probably, I would say the oldest in the team, which is after me is Carlos or Roberto. Now, we're talking about 14, 15 years in the business, that people feel comfortable not saying, oh, but you sent me this lady that I think she got the license a year ago, maybe she's not, obviously, because people will feel not comfortable that, why you're sending me someone who doesn't know? And it happens to me that, obviously, I always call Jason, even on the weekends, Jason, can you please explain to me this? Because even something so simple like the NRST accountability, I know that someone will be able to, I grab the phone, can you please explain to me this? Because I don't know it. I don't know everything in business. But that accountability is not only on your own team, it's with the whole team. It's with the whole team. So many times, Jason, Alex, even Colleen, can you, it's something that we are there. We need to have that accountability. And this is something that I'm very proud to say that I've been having for the last 23 years. And as much as we receive emails from people, the grass is green on the other side. Okay. It's something that is my passion, is my business, is the way that I grew up, is what I've seen. Because that accountability, if it was not there for the 23 years, forget that it's going to find it in the next company, or trying to see that grass that will be green on the other side. No, guys, this is something that we work, we live it, and we have that. And this is a part of the whole business. Even if you're doing it by yourself, even if you're as a team, accountability, we have it here. And that's what we are happy to have it.
Thank you.
If I could share one quick tip actually from Emerson. So a challenge that I found was when I got to the point being able to let go of some of my deals, which again was a big part of the why, I'd come across the issue where the clients would be like, oh, well, I want you. And although I'd hand them off to somebody, they kept calling me. And I was talking to Emerson about it one day, and he's like, Pender, you know what I do? I create a WhatsApp group. So let's say it's a husband and wife. So we get the husband and wife, myself, Natisha, and the team member who's taken that lead. And so the nice thing was, he's like, and just once in a while, he'll just chime in. Yeah, I agree. I talked to him yesterday and he told me, and I agree. And all they wanted was to know that you're in the background. And some of the wording I use is, I'm like, yeah, and I'm still quarterbacking the deal, Mr. Client. So don't worry about that. Jacob's going to be on the ground so that you don't lose out on any of the service or on my schedule. This way you're in the best hands, but I'm still quarterbacking it. We're talking every day. I know everything happening in your deal. And then that WhatsApp tip was amazing.
That's a fantastic.
Every few conversations, just to, hey, by the way, Jacob and I did talk, and I agree with that because of this and that. Or I'll notice, let's say Jacob sent a message, or the client sent something that's maybe difficult, or an objection, or an obstacle, or it's going to make, it's rude, and, poor Jacob's going to jump through the phone, and, and I'll jump in. And I'm seeing it all. So I can be like, listen, I'm pretty sure he already told you this, and this is why, and we're going to stand firm. So we get to be a team in that communication, and it's such a small tip, but it's changed the way we do things. So thank you, Emerson.
Nice.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, so you've had people leave
Yes.
I think a lot of the time when agent to agent, they're talking about teams, one of the agents will say, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm going to teach someone everything that I know, and then they're going to leave me and take my business and take all the knowledge. Has that been an issue when you had people leave, like the person that 5 times his income? When he left, did that affect your business or your client database or anything like that?
Not at all. So my mindset is not from a place of scarcity, it's from a place of abundance. So I provide them with the whole, like, you know, our listing package, our buyer package, and I create it with their face. It's our branding, so I like that with the Go Gonchar. So like it all looks the same, but I let them be an individual. Your face is on the front, your name, your phone number. When they go to leave, I don't even lock them out. Take all your files. You want an extra week so you can make sure you can take everything? Take my checklist, take everything I got. I really don't care. I have to look back again. One of the whys was to help people. That why doesn't change now because you left. My why only exists when I benefit, but now I'm going to change my mind when you're gone. So I don't care personally, and I also think we live in a digital age. So if I send one of those, let's say, pieces by email to a client or text, could that client not share it with their buddy who just got their license? Sure. So instead of me living with this like toxicity and feeling like negative, and my brain thinking about these negative things, I'm like, let you be, go nuts. There's enough for us to all eat. And an analogy I've used before, it's a little bit crude, but you know, when I leave my house, I don't lock my wife in the basement. I trust her. Why? Because I give into that relationship. Our relationship is strong enough that I don't need to be like, where are you? Where are you? I trust you. If somebody takes her from me, it's my fault. It's the same thing with my clients. Our addresses for our clients are on the whiteboard. Go into my office, go knock on their door. Go nuts, take my listing package. I don't care. I need to be strong in my relationships. So my relationships with my team members, come and recruit my people. Go nuts. Come and try to steal my clients. Go ahead. I welcome it because it's a challenge to me to make sure I'm doing my part. So, you know, one of them I just spoke to recently was, hey, you finally did what I told you to do 4 years ago and I see it's working. Mark, for example, is doing fantastic. We're having lunch next week. No problem. I'm glad I see you using the marketing that I taught you and it's working for you. I don't keep all the info. I don't cut them off. Some of them still call me to this day. Hey, I have a question. Can you help me? I'll send them a soft copy. Go nuts. So that fear doesn't exist for me, and I think it makes my life a lot less stressful.
When you reflect on the why, it always changes the reaction, and then it's always authentic as to who you want to be and how you want to run your business, and the peace in your own self, right? It's a big piece.
It's like a hot potato.
Something quick that what your position on this. For example, we had one person that he was in the gay community, in the LGBT community. So when he was here with us, he was unexperienced, and he came to us. And I remember, even myself, I went into that pink magazine with him, like he just beside me with all the rainbow color. I don't care. It's just for me, it was a business. Even at that time, my wife says, "What happened? Your clients are." I don't care. This is Canada. This is a free country. I'm not in that community, but I got my business partner who's in that community, and he needs to have my presence there. And we had good deals when we started. And I got him through all the things that today he's in one of those church street, in that area, in that community, and he's very successful. And he always called me, Emerson, what about this? Because at the end of the day, it was his path to start. Obviously, sometimes you can feel like, I'm teaching him too much, and then he's gonna take my community or my clients. No. Even those from that community, those guys that we had at the beginning, obviously they approached me after for some, and then you know what? Now he's not with me, but he's your friend at the beginning. He's in the community, and then he went back. It's just I kind of released those clients because at the beginning they were not to be meant for me all the time. We did a good job, and the guy was there to help him out. But I always trying to not to hide anything from me at all, because at the end of the day, they need to be and having those, because at the end of the day, it's just how many stories you have in your real estate life. That's simple. So all the stories that I have here, I want to share with them that they know exactly what I know. And always my Bible on this is, do not hide anything at all. Because at the end of the day, we only have, in the whole team, We started one person that, he's still a friend of us, but he's in the oil business, so he came in real estate for 2 years, and now he's not active as in real estate, but he's still there. I still have in our truck, in our van, his face is there, and all the events that we have is there. I said, okay, if we get a deal or something, we're just trying to give you a free marketing. But this is something that it helps us a lot. Show them properly, teach them properly, because believe me, if they're properly trained, they're not gonna leave you. They need you as a backup. They need you. This is the guy that we want to work with. This is the team that I want to be in. This is how strong I feel. Because sometimes it can be very intimidated with sitting with Dan Cooper on your side trying to deal business, and then probably for us, I was talking about Andrea. My English at that time was very bad. It's hard. So, but then we need to have those backup. We need to have those knowledge, because at the end of the day, this is how you're going to be competing with those monsters out there.
The thing in common that you all have, and everybody who sits on one of our panels or speaks or does a workshop, is that they share openly. They share like there's no secrets, and that's one of the things that we've collectively. I think that's what a lot of us do, is you show other people and you attract people towards you because you are open and you help people and you mentor people. And that's really your why as to why you probably got into the business to begin with. So I just want to thank you guys all for spending this time and sharing with everybody. You'll all get the recording.
I just had one quick question.
No.
Culture, and you guys looking at it in us, we look at it in you as well. So I think that's the foundational key to everything that falls into place afterwards, trust, structure, etc. You kind of feel that person out first, but we see it in you as well. So thank you guys for your time and your effort and being giants in the industry. Moving our way.
Thank you, everybody.